My name is David. Years ago, I worked the night shift at a gas station and convenience store in the middle of nowhere. It was the kind of place where almost nothing happened. Most nights, I worked alone from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., and the hardest part of the job was staying awake. The owner was cheap, security was weak, and the whole place felt forgotten by the world. One night, sometime very late, I was standing behind the counter flipping through a magazine while the old fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The store was completely silent, so when the front door chimed, it startled me. I looked up and saw a man walking in. He looked to be in his 30s, tall, strongly built, and at first glance he seemed normal. Then I noticed what was on him. He was covered in blood. There was blood across his chest, blood on his face, blood streaked over his arms. It was so much that my brain almost refused to process it. For a second I wondered if it was paint, but deep down I knew it wasn't. What shook me even more than the blood was his expression. His eyes were empty. He looked relaxed, almost bored, like he was just another late-night customer, grabbing snacks and heading home. I froze. I just stood there staring at him, and he noticed. Then, to my shock, he smiled and said, in the calmest voice possible, "Don't worry, it's not my blood." That did not make me feel better. It made everything worse. My mind went straight to one conclusion. This man had hurt someone, maybe killed someone, and I might be next. But survival took over. I forced myself to act normal. I nodded like he had said something ordinary, looked back down at my magazine, and tried not to show fear. He walked through the aisles, picked up a few random items, then came to the counter. I rang him up without making eye contact. He paid in cash, said nothing else, and left. The moment I heard his car start outside, I grabbed the phone and called 911. I told the dispatcher exactly what I had seen and tried to describe him as clearly as I could. I said I didn't know what had happened, but I knew something was wrong. Then the door chimed again. I thought it was another customer. It wasn't. It was him. He stormed back into the store looking furious. I hung up the phone immediately, but it was too late. He had seen me through the window. He came straight to the counter and demanded to know if I had called the police. I denied it, but he knew I was lying. He started shouting, cursing, telling me to mind my own business. I raised my hands and tried to calm him down, but I was finished the second he decided he wasn't leaving quietly. He jumped the counter, not climbed. Jumped. He launched himself over it, hit me full force, and drove me to the floor before I could react. 1 second he was yelling, and the next he had his hands on me and I was fighting for my life. I had never been in a real fight before. I remember thinking very clearly, this is how I die. I kicked, scratched, twisted, and bit. I did anything I could to survive. There was blood all over me now, his or someone else's, smeared across my clothes and face while we rolled across the floor. He was trying to overpower me, and I was losing. Out of pure desperation, I yelled that I had a gun, and I wasn't afraid to use it. It was a complete bluff. But somehow, he believed me. He stopped, scrambled off me, and ran out of the store. A second later, I heard his car tear out of the parking lot. I stayed on the floor for a while, stunned, hurting, and covered in blood. When the police finally arrived about 10 minutes later, they saw the condition I was in and immediately went after him. I never heard anything after that. No follow-up, no explanation, nothing on the news, no arrest that I ever knew about. It was like the whole thing vanished the second he disappeared into the night. To this day, it remains the most physically terrifying thing I have ever survived.